Let's step into a space that's quiet, still, and reflective. These qualities, in fact, have guided the works of interior designer Cecil Ravelas. For over 2 decades, Ravelas has been designing healing spaces. Her projects echo restoration and balance using stone, wood, weaves, textured neutrals, and soft metallics. In this year's World Bex 2026 exposition, Ravelas showcased Hinga, inviting exhibit goers to pause and reflect. It's time to put a spotlight on initiatives that move communities forward. Welcome to Sustainability. Let's delve into what she deemed as the architecture of pause. And joining us is Cecil Ravelas, founder of Red Interior Design and national president of the Philippine Institute of Interior Designers for 2026 to 2027. Tama?
Hi.
Or hanggang 2028?
Oh my God.
Good
No,
evening.
2027 lang.
Good evening, Cecil. Welcome
Good
to the Big
evening.
Story, and congratulations on your being president of this very dynamic group.
Thank you.
You bring a new breath of fresh air.
Energy. Yeah. Bring energy to the organization. Yes. It's been exactly 3 months. I'm counting, di ba? But we've been, it's nice because I'm working with a very good dynamic board, and we have this like sync energy. So we've been pretty busy and promoting our advocacies and
Which
pushing
are?
which are, well, one, sustainability, wellness, and of course, our immediate response is to the needs of our members. And 75% of our members belong to the Gen Z, Gen Y. So, and they're really dealing with a lot of stress, and even all of us. In reality, we're living in a very fast life, so we really need
The
to
peso
take.
just
And
went
exactly.
above 60. Can
Grabe,
you imagine?
diba?
Yeah.
So it's really, like what I would always say. This morning I was saying, we should intentionally pause and really create spaces for it because it's a need. In fact, even for the exhibit, I didn't expect a lot of people to really resonate with the space, because when they asked me to do the show, I know everybody was expecting me to come up with something polished, like a really well-designed booth. But in reality, we need to create space for, where we can really find our heal ourselves and reconnect with our inner selves. And so that's how Hinga came about.
Is that a trend now in design?
Yes, yes. People are always talking about sustainability here in the Philippines, but wellness has not really. I mean, there are groups already promoting it, but sustainability is about preserving the planet. But even if you preserve the planet, but if the humans are not there, so the equivalent of sustainability in living is wellness. So there are buildings that may be built sustainably because it passed all
I
the
like
specification,
Ticked all the
but
boxes.
then it can still be stressful. So like a condominium, like here in the Philippines, we're like, dense population. So it could be sustainable building,
Pwedeng LEED
certified,
siya, or yeah.
pwedeng LEED siya, pero it's all glass. It's
Yeah.
centralized air conditioning. There's no, a few nature, no garden, and it's so sikip.
Skip.
And, people inside do not relate well. So it becomes stressful for them, for us, without us realizing it. Like traffic alone is so stressful, even if you're in an aircon car. But, we're so used to it that we no longer realize how it's impacting us. But
I love that
Yeah.
definition, that there has to be inner.
it
And
has to be inner.
wellness,
Inner
which is part of
wellness.
sustainability. Hindi lang yung
Yeah.
planet, tayo rin sarili
Oo.
natin,
Kasi
alagaan
baka may
natin.
planeta pero wala naman na tayo, di ba? Kasi, it's really a balance. It's, there's also another partner of that word, biophilia. So, that is a trend in
Biophilic.
design,
Right.
biophilic design, na you're bringing back nature inside. And why? Because when we reconnect with nature, it becomes automatic.
It's self-healing, no?
It's self-healing. So when
Actually,
you're healing,
that is the new luxury, I would say.
yes, it is. It's no longer, buying. In fact, even for travel, the travel for wellness luxury has increased. So people, more and more people are really looking for a place to escape, a quiet place where they can hide
What
themselves.
does that look like, Cecil? I'm curious when you say your house, your home, your sanctuary should be kumbaga, conducive to wellness, but what does it look like? Because you can have a really nice house, I agree, but the
Correct.
chairs are uncomfortable.
Yes.
And the color is too jarring.
Correct,
There's too much stuff.
So there are ways of doing it, but to me the most basic, having indoor plants. And to me, it's really choosing natural materials, authenticity, bringing it back
Kasi
in.
marami na ngayon fake wood, fake stone,
Exactly.
fake... Di
And,
ba?
and we don't, exactly, so we don't really, it's fake. So it doesn't, you don't resonate with it. But you know what's interesting? It's like, like a new concept to us, but here in the Philippines, it's so natural. We talk about sustainability, but we've been living it. Our ancestors have been living it. Yung word na aliwalas, yung cross ventilation, every Pinoy knows it. But that's the very basic principle of having a sustainable and building a sustainable environment. Using natural materials like rattan, our crafts, which is so common, but that is authenticity in material. So it's really just going back and
Back to basic.
back to basic
our
talaga,
roots.
back to our roots.
Yeah.
So that's why in PIID my campaign is, how do we move forward to the future if we no longer know who we are? So
It's very Jose Rizal of you.
I know.
Very
He's
good.
But
my,
it's so
he's
true.
my lolo. But in reality, you have to, diba? You have to know your history. You have to, we take it for granted, but I notice a lot of the younger designers now, they don't even know Philippine design history. Like, recently, Lorcama passed away. They don't even know who he is. And he's like a founder. So I think everybody's like living a very fast life. And, we just really need to pause and start reflecting again. I find myself, earlier I was just sharing in lunch, I find myself caught in that rhythm also. I could not finish a movie anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like caught also in the
Parang you
busyness
can't
of my life.
focus.
I can't
you
focus.
can't stay still for like 2 hours.
Exactly. So, unless the film is really super wow, yung hook na sinasabi nila, parang I can't stay.
Parang naiinip ka na.
Naiinip na ako. So, can you imagine?
And design can make us
yeah.
less ganyan, less aligaga.
It
less-
has to be intentional. So, in fact, to me, that's why I'm campaigning or re-educating in our organization, because we build homes, so we create the environment. So if we do it intentionally, we can actually make it a space for wellness and to let people heal. And like simple thing, you were asking kanina, how will it look? Yes, basic. Letting natural air and natural light come in, bringing plants, but at the same time choosing more natural materials, like
and
like
less things, no?
yeah,
Less things.
Less things. Okay.
Guilty ako dyan.
Pero you know
miss
what?
the
Not
clutter.
necessarily. There are minimal, like me, I'm minimalist in a sense, but there are spaces that are minimalist, but they feel empty and cold.
You're right.
Diba?
It can be.
It can be. So that means it's really creating that balance of putting a bit of nature, a bit of natural element like natural light. Otherwise, it can be really a cold space.
Well, we are flashing some of your designs here on the screen, and they're very, very beautiful.
okay.
And I'm curious because some of them have a lot of colors, like
Yes.
red walls,
Yes,
no,
correct.
and lots of art and greenery.
Yes.
walk us through the design process also, no? Do you consult your clients? How involved are they in the designing process?
I am trained to be client-centered. So, because I work with hospitality, so hotels, restaurants, brands. So, I listen. That's my process. I really listen and try to give as much support to your vision. And really, sometimes I create the story for the property. On a personal, for personal homes, it's the same thing. So I listen. To me, it doesn't make sense that you create something nice, but then the people living in it cannot relate to it. Parang sayang, di ba? So I always say, the success of a design is really when people likes to use it. When, you create a sofa and then people sit on it. So like with the booth, I was just
The
amazed.
hinga booth,
Booth. Talagang someone was saying we should have we should have charged entrance fee. They were joking because,
May nakatulog ba?
yeah, they were really sitting, they were meditating, and then I left a sound bowl, and then they were playing with it. And it's something you don't see every day because people are still not talking about meditation as a regular practice or language. But, seeing these people visit the booth, I mean,
You see that there's a yearning.
there's a yearning. And they were like really hanging out and staying. And then sometimes when I'm there, I do have sessions with them.
Hindi sila nag-surf ng cellphone.
Hindi. Hindi talaga. And then someone was asking me if where they can experience. We're looking for a space. There are 2 institutions interested to have it over, to install it. And but that was also unexpected. But when you're inside the booth, that's when you experience that everything's so busy because it's an exhibit. But when you're inside, because of the barrier, you can really feel the energy of the space.
What
And you
materials did you
mentioned
use?
that
for
hindi
this
siya
design?
mahal.
Yeah. Was
Hindi
it
siya
Yes.
plywood?
Because
Some of your
Ayan, i-flash nga natin ulit. Plywood lang pala yun.
it's recycled actually.
Ang
So it's a
ganda, no?
material that has been rejected for a project. So it's just like waste na. So what we did was to rebond it, recut it, and because otherwise it's a waste. And I said, why don't we create? And I intentionally made it that way in the sense that to show people that you can actually create something beautiful and something relevant from simple materials.
Yeah.
And so even the pillows are made of kacha. So it's still nice. People think it's an expensive Egyptian cotton. Sabi ko, no, that's just kacha.
It's very IG worthy and very Pinterest. And I love it so much.
Why that shape?
Okay.
It's like a womb or something.
Yeah, it's like a womb. It's like a nest. I've been obsessed with
Nest.
that.
Like a beehive.
Because it's in a way when you're in an enclosed space, you're cocooning and it envelopes you. So that creates that feeling of safety, security, and that's when healing begins. Yeah. So, but of course, not everybody has that space in the house. So somebody was asking me, how can you create that? Sometimes it's just finding a quiet corner,
Like a corner.
doing your own routine, like opening the minute you wake up, open the window, get coffee, sit down, you read, intentionally pausing. Somebody was saying kanina, it's so hard to meditate. Yeah, it's hard. And believe me,
Yeah.
I've been on and off.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's
But
super hard.
5 minutes practice every day until it becomes 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You just have to consciously
And
or
how
intentionally want it.
how has it helped you?
My journey really started because I got sick, I had surgery, so it made me go back. It forced me to slow down. And
Siguro your body also was telling you.
yeah,
you need
because
to
I'm like
stop.
always on the go then, like 24/7. I'm opening properties, I'm in the plane, I'm visiting factory. In fact, even when this exhibit was happening, we were like setting up 3 days of no sleep. And then during the exhibition, so immediately, Sunday, I was in Sama. I was doing my meditation. Yesterday, and I had to force it in my schedule.
Tell us about Sama. You designed this studio,
Yes. So it's a studio I designed. It's again an output of my healing journey. with a friend. We just said, I want to create a space where people can congregate, pause, and find healing. And so Malu, our friend, said, "Oh, why don't you we intend to do that." So we designed it, and it was last year that we opened, and we never promoted it. But wow, every day is like a blessing. Like yesterday, I was doing Qigong. Before, it was just 5 of us. Now there's like 10. And these are like,
So you'll have to expand now.
yeah.
I was able
Yeah.
to do a sound bath there for my
Yeah.
friend's birthday last month.
Yeah.
In Sama?
In Sama.
And in fact, on Sundays now, before we're not open on Sunday, but now Sundays there are special sessions, and we're making it like a community activity. And people have been coming, so it's really needed. I guess people didn't know where to go, they didn't have the word for it, but there are pockets of wellness center that has been coming up, and it just shows that,
I like how you connect wellness to sustainability. So, would you say this is your mission now as head of PIID?
yes, I think even my being president, I always say, I'm like the delinquent member. I'm a delinquent student. So, but somewhere along the line, you mature. And when I was called to do the work, to run, and I felt, I knew I was ready with all the inner work I've been doing, and I did. And I see it as a
mission.
A mission. There's always a purpose in life, everything we encounter, every people we meet. And so I think it's time for me to give back to a profession that really has provided for me. And, and it's so, the timing is so perfect. Look at the chaos we're in now.
Yeah. So do you believe all workspaces, like for instance our studio here, our offices should have such a corner, a wellness corner?
Yeah. Especially, when you're always like doing, you're always on the phone. All of us, we're always on the phone.
Guilty.
That's why the injury now is here, back.
And wrists.
And wrist. So, and that's like really a new phenomenon brought about
So
by the
anong
mobile phone.
design mo para ma-address yan? Sige nga.
Something that makes you want to leave your phone. And not tempt you to.
Yeah, like that,
Really,
like
like
hinga.
that. And like really create a space. It's like, we create closets for our clothes. We create shoe cabinets for our shoes. Why can't we create a space where we can pause? It's a place of well-being. A long time ago, people would, remember, there was a trend that people would design man cave in a house to keep the husband away from everything else. But here, now, it's really wellness for you.
Well, we thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That was Cecil Ravelas of Red Interior Design and of PIID.